Welcome. In this gentle flow class, we'll be doing postures and breathing techniques to overcome stress and burnout. Oftentimes, our nervous system takes a big toll, and we need to move with intention and breath. Through this, we're able to overcome that sense of fear and anxiety that oftentimes plays a role in our day-to-day activities. So you can practice this gentle flow at any time of day. You can practice it morning, afternoon, or evening. As you come to your yoga mat, make sure that you have props. You'll want to have 2 blocks and at least 1 blanket. You might like to have a bolster, like a pillow, for Savasana, which is the last posture. We're going to go ahead and start in an upright seat. This pose is called Sukhasana. It's an easy seat. You can use a blanket, but you can also use a block as well. Come to sit on the edge of the blanket. Your knees will come out to the side. You can support the knees with blocks or with rolled up blankets. Just being mindful that your hips sit higher than the knees. And lengthen through your spine. So the sit bones are rooted down, and then the spine lengthen as though you're pulling up through the back of your head. Draw your chin in, hands will rest on the knees. And maybe your eyes close or you leave the eyes open. And check in with yourself. Notice how the physical body feels. Notice where the body meets the floor, the points of contact. Bringing attention into this present moment. Observe the temperature of the air, the natural tide of your breath, where you feel the breath. Notice where you're breathing. As you notice your breath, it starts to become a little bit longer. Try to keep it slow, undisturbed. Smooth it out. Breathing in and out through the nose. Take 3 conscious breaths like this. Try to breathe into the pelvis and the belly, the ribs, your chest. And bring your palms together at your heart center. Bow your head in towards your heart. Honor yourself for pausing today. Maybe you have an intention, something that you'd like to call upon. Maybe it's putting down your identity, putting down your to-do list for this next few minutes as you practice yoga. And then start to release your hands if the eyes are open or if they closed, open them up. Start to take some shoulder rolls up and down onto your back. And go the other direction. And switch the cross of your legs, so allowing the other leg to come in front. Inhale, take both of your arms up, breathe in. Exhale, take your left arm over to the side and reach up and over with your right arm. Pull your right shoulder back, open up the heart, breathe into this space, create the space, releasing tension. And inhale, take both arms up. Exhale, the right arm over to the side, reach up and over with the left arm. Open the heart, breathe into the side of your body. Inhale, both the arms come up. Exhale, palms come together to your heart. And start to roll forward onto your hands and your knees into the pose tabletop. If you're on a hard surface, this is when it's nice to have a blanket under your knees, especially if you have any knee sensitivity. And it can also be nice to have the blocks at the front of your mat so you know where they're at. Hands come underneath the shoulders, fingers spread wide, knees are hip-width distance apart. The tops of the feet are onto the mat. Breathe into the shape, tabletop pose. Press through the palms of your hands, spread your fingers wide. Feel the earth beneath you, no straining. Allow yourself to experience the shape. And on your next inhale, start to lift up your tailbone and lift up your chin. Take a breath in. This is cow. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone like a cat. Move with the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the chin. Exhale, round your spine like a cat. The movement of the body is guided by the movement of the breath. Yours might be different than mine. Explore this sensation. Explore how breath moves in the body. Create this relationship with your breath through the postures. And the next time you exhale, start to round your spine and sit back to your heels, taking child's pose. The hips come back towards the heels. You can keep your arms extended forward. If you're feeling a little more lethargic and want to take it a little easier, you can take your hands behind you and allow your shoulders to round in. Wherever you are, make sure that your head is resting somewhere. If it's on the floor or whether it might be on a block, maybe a blanket. We'll be in this pose for about 30 seconds or so. And so as you're in this shape, I invite you to notice the breath in your back body. Maybe even feel breath in the back of your heart. Dissipate any tension, any stress in the shoulders. Let it all melt into the floor. Trust the earth that's beneath you. Continue to breathe here. Take 3 more breaths in the low body, in the back of the heart. Dissipate tension. Experience the exhale. And on your next inhale, start to rise back up into your table. You can stay in table, or if the downward facing dog is a pose that's in your practice, curl your toes, press into your palms, lift the knees. The pelvis goes up to the sky, downward facing dog. The head's released, so the gaze is underneath you, maybe even towards the back wall. And start to pedal feet, bending one knee at a time. You might shake out your head. This is a nice pose to release tension. It can be very therapeutic, especially if you're feeling lethargy. Really nice for the back, the hamstrings. And then I invite you to find stillness in this pose. Keep the chest moving towards the upper thighs. Try to avoid any type of straining. Breathe into this shape. And then exhale, lower your knees down towards the mat. Round your spine, sit back to the heels into child's pose. Take 3 breaths here. Inhale, rise back up into your table. From this pose, we're going to move into a standing forward fold. So there's a couple of different ways to get into that shape. You can move through downward dog, or you can start to step your foot forward and the other one forward into a standing fold. From down dog, straighten out the legs and walk your feet towards the hands. It can be nice to have some blocks here, but you can also bend your elbows, take your hands to the elbows. Keep a generous bend in your knees. Maybe even your upper chest comes towards the upper thighs to support the torso. The crown of the head's released, so looking between the legs to release the tension in the spine. Breathe into the shape, breathe into back body. Let everything go. Your day, worries, fears, roll off the spine. The earth supports you. On an inhale, start to come up halfway. This pose is called Arda Uttanasana. You come up halfway, hands are on the knees or to your blocks. Breathe in. Exhale, fold forward. Let the crown of the head hang. Slowly from this pose, we're gonna rise up to stand. Carefully, vertebrae on vertebrae, arms come up, shoulders, bring them down onto your back. Inhale, sweep your arms wide, high overhead. Exhale, palms come together and forward fold. Just as we were before, let the upper body release, let it all go. Maybe the legs start to straighten a little bit, lengthen the hamstrings. Stay with your breath. Inhale, come up halfway, breathe in. Exhale, bring your hands all the way down to the mat and take a big step back, maybe into downward dog or into a table pose. Exhale, knees come down to the mat and sit back with your hips, child's pose. Observe here. Notice if your heart's beating a little bit faster, but keep the breath smooth. Inhale, rise back up. And start to come to a seat. The legs will swing out in front of you. And your blanket, you can have to sit just on the very edge. As we did in the first seated pose, having those hips elevated can be very helpful. Allowing the spine to lengthen. The legs are extended out long. If you notice that your hamstrings are very tight, you can also roll a blanket up or place a pillow or some type of prop underneath the backs of the knees. And take your hands behind you so that your fingertips point away from the body. Your shoulders will draw down onto the back, opening up your heart and across the collarbone. The head can lift and gently tilt back. Mindful though that you're not dumping the head all the way back, but keeping length through the crown of the head. Press through the soles of your feet so the whole body is engaged here. Connect with your breath and the heart. And then exhale, release. And start to fold forward. The hands can walk forward. You're keeping your low spine neutral and you're rounding in your mid-thoracic spine. Hands can stay by the sides. The goal here is not to reach for the toes, but stay lengthening through your spine and then rounding, opening breath in the back of the body. One more breath in. On your next inhale, start to lift your torso. Draw your right knee into the chest, give it a hug. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Exhale, twist to the right side. Your hand can come behind you. Mindful, you're lengthening through the spine. That's very important for the posture. And your gaze might even go over your back shoulder. Your awareness stays on the breath, in the spine. Dissipate stress. Exhale, release. Send the right leg down the mat. Pull the left leg in. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. Draw your chin slightly in. And exhale, twist to the left. The left hand could even come behind you, looking over your back shoulder. And as you exhale, releasing, extend the legs long and scoot up towards the front of your mat. You're going to come to lie down onto your back. You could have a support for your head if you like. As you come onto your back, pull the knees in towards your chest. Give them a gentle hug. Let your head be relaxed. The shoulders are relaxed. This pose is Uttanasana. It's sending energy, prana, down and out of the body, releasing it, releasing stress, the support of the earth. Stay with your breath. You're welcome to continue holding this pose, or you can take Happy Baby. Happy Baby is opening up your knees, maybe reaching behind knees, or for your ankles, perhaps the edges of your feet. You might enjoy rocking side to side in this pose. A little bit of joy, ease in this moment. And we'll release that position and start to take the last pose, Savasana, a relaxation shape. You have the option to place your bolster behind the backs of the knees. If you do this, you might notice a release on your low back. We'll be here for a few minutes, so it's important that you get comfortable and feel supported. Savasana is a very important pose as it implements all the postures, the breath, the movement. As you lie on the floor, take a cleansing breath in through your nose. Let it go out your mouth. Release the muscles. Allow the earth to be here for you. There's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do in this moment, right here, with your breath, with the earth supporting you. Trust the support and guide your attention to the breath at the nasal passage. And then each time you exhale, count backwards from the number 11. And with each exhale, release a little bit more fully here. Take a moment to bring your awareness back into your room, the space that's around you. Observe sounds, your body, where the body meets the floor, the gentle rhythm of breath. Start to make little movements to wake up your body. As you start to wake up, bend your knees. Roll over onto the side. And start to press into the hands, sitting up. And we'll close this session with the hands at the heart center. Bow your head in. Coming back to your intention. And carrying this presence, this energy that you've created into the rest of your day. Knowing that you can always revisit this space anytime you feel overwhelmed, anytime you feel stressed, that there's a pocket of stillness, a pocket of space where you have the opportunity to release and become present. Thank you for allowing me to guide you in this healing practice. In honor of all that we are and all that there is. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, perfect peace. Thank you so much for joining me.